this is why I love having my guests. Sometimes I'll happily do the show on my own as well. But again, I think over the years of being involved in the market, one thing that has been, I would say, plagues many people is trying to get consistency in the market. And doing this over the time as well, there's many different ways to getting consistency, from having a good trading system, for risk management, and just finding your groove. Okay, and I've been working with a guy who I'm going to be bringing on the show just shortly on here, who for a number of years, and no one has, I think, put more heart and effort into getting that consistency. And we talked a lot, and he's been getting involved with everything that we're doing at StockAbility. And I said, why don't you come on the show and talk about that journey as well? He's a great guy. He's a happy guy. I'd love to bring him on the show right now as well. Here he is. He's joining us from Los Angeles right now. Should be on the show. Giovanni, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
I can hear you as well. I seem to have a frozen picture on here. So technology today is
Oh,
just being a little bit kind of tricky with me. So let me just try and see if we can do this again and get this up back on the screen. Because I tell you
there
what,
we go.
there we are. We are good. We are working again. I heard you, but you weren't moving. So joining us from LA, how are you doing today, my friend?
Good, man. Doing well, man. Just, trading,
What,
studying.
what time have you been up since? You are an early starter. I know
So,
that.
yeah. Well, I mean, I get up every morning at around, I'm trying to get a little bit more rest. So I get up at around 5:30.
Hmm.
But last night I stayed up till about 2 in the morning doing Forex.
Wow.
So I didn't really do any futures trading today.
Okay.
But kind of looking at the markets or a little bit before our meeting started here on Facebook. But yeah, just trying to, it's just the little one, man. She keeps me up and,
How old
you
is
know,
it? How old's the little one? How old have you got there? What have you got there?
she's going to be 3 this month on the 17th.
Oh wow! Well,
So
congratulations. My one just
yeah,
turned
thank
3 a
you.
couple of months ago, so we're about the same in it as well. That is dedication, though. One thing I can say about you is dedication and so on. And when I was thinking about the show and we were talking, and we made the topic of this like the path to consistency, Gio. And
Yeah.
I know you're definitely been through that thing. I think that a lot of traders and investors go through, where they get into it, and then they're looking for different approaches, different methodologies, just trying to really find their groove as well. How long has the journey been for you so far?
Look, man, honestly, I started 7 years ago when my father got me involved into trading. And unfortunately, I was not able to have any consistency with the companies that I was involved in with. And, sadly, they coughed up him and my parents. So they coughed up, a lot of money, man, upwards of around, 35 to $45,000 to learn how to trade. And I think, and I've said it before, really, like, the only really good thing that came out of that was that I got to meet you. And so when you started your own thing, it's almost like you just drop everything. And I just was like, wherever Sam goes, I'm going. And that's what I did, man. And so for 7 years, I was super inconsistent, maybe breaking even, if that. And then a lot of, failure after failure, questioning. And it's not until I think, at least in my opinion, you can have the best trading strategy in the world, but if the system is not at par or is not at that level that's going to give you the results that you need, then you need a better system, because your strategy is only going to work for so long. And I think what's helped me out is that when I got in with your company, is that everyone does the same thing. Every instructor does the same thing. This is not, it's not like where you're learning and one teacher says, this is how you do it. Then another teacher says, you don't need to look at, monthly and weekly time frames because you're a day trader. So the highest thing that you need to do is look at a 240-minute. And I disagree completely. And that's because a lot of people haven't been taught how to look at monthly and weekly levels correctly. And so I was getting a lot of, mixed information, right? It's like, well, or a certain person will say, well, this is what works for me. You got to do what works for you. And I'm like, well, tell me what works for me, because I
Right,
need help,
right.
and then it would go into, well, what does your trade plan say?
Hmm.
And then I was like, well, clearly my trade plan is terrible. So please help me. Well, it's really what you want. And I never had that, hold my hand. Can somebody just hold my hand and just show me the ropes, please? I would message instructors, hey, look, I'm looking for a tutor, a mentor. Can you please mentor? Look, I'm really expensive. I'm out of your budget. I don't have time. All good stuff, because it's true. And that's fine, you know, but I found everything that I needed, thankfully, in your company, man. And I think that that's what's helped me out a lot, is that nothing changes. It's the overt system. If you know, my trade plan was all over the place, and it was like, I think at one point I was just writing stuff just to write stuff,
Right.
you know, not really knowing what I was writing, because, you know, I saw people with all kinds of stuff. So I was like, well, I feel like I don't have enough on my trade plan. No, it's just very simple. It is the overt system. And every instructor, Ryan, you, Dan, and
Graham.
yeah, Graham.
He's new. We just brought him in. He's watching the show right now. Don't forget.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, Graham. Yeah. Sorry, I missed class today, but in the morning. But yeah. So everybody does the same thing, and it's like, and that's what I needed, is just this robotic. I need to be like a robot. It's just like this, and this, and then there's just no thought about it, and it's so simplified, and that's why I like it, because, you know, you work on your risk management, but you have the targets. And they're there. They never change. It's like, you don't have to kill yourself looking for the right perfect entry, because there just isn't. I've seen, you know, another thing that's helped me is that I've seen you trade the company account. I've seen Ryan trade his real account. I've seen Graham do it. I've seen Dan posting his stuff. And so that's motivating to me, because you guys are putting your money where your mouth is.
Well, you have to. I think it's one of those things in trading, you know, in anything. And there's a lot. Let's put it. There's a lot of great educators out there and everything. And all the people I've seen who've ever really kind of been worth their weight in salt. You know, they have to. You have to put. You know, you have to do it live as well. And I'd love to express a huge thanks for, you know, the kind words, you know, as well. But one of the things I think as well, Giovanni, and it's wonderful to hear that, you know, that consistency's helped you. I think that people also make the mistake of thinking, well, there's going to just be this perfect strategy that someone's going to teach me, and I'm going to implement that, and it's going to then just be it. Yes, we all need consistency, but here's my question for you. How much of it is about giving somebody a framework, and then also how much, because, you know, you've probably heard this before over the years. I know I have. You know, any proven strategy can work if you just implement it. Well, I would completely agree, but the issue I feel that so many people have is that one strategy may not work for them and it won't work for somebody else. Like, I have a mentor called Bob, and wonderful guy, Bob Dunn. I mean, incredible. Like, go back. He's like my family to me. His style of and methodology of trading doesn't suit me. Doesn't suit my risk management approach. The entries don't. But that doesn't mean he's not successful. It just means that his style doesn't work for me. So, you know, you have to implement your style. So I guess the question I'm trying to get to here is, while I'm pleased to hear that, you know, the team has managed to help you, how much is it all down to you as well and finding something that's right for you, Giovanni?
How much is what?
How much is it about finding, you know, an approach that's right for you? Because you're given a framework, but, you know, what about things like trade management and so on as well? Like, how much have you had to put your own spin on things, I guess, is the question as well.
I mean, yeah, you guys have guided us. And at the end of the day, it's like, you can tell us everything. I mean, anybody can. Any instructor, any company can tell you what to do. But, you know, if you're not putting in the work, if you're not watching your risk management, if you're not, for me, I used to not have targets. Now I have targets, because sometimes I've seen it go against me. And then
you didn't have targets. That's interesting. So as a trader, you didn't really have targets. You just what would you do? Would you just like put the trade on and just see how it goes, basically?
Yeah, and then I would just either, because,
well, a little bit like this, right? Let's put the charts up here so you can actually see this right now. You know, I've actually got the charts up of GameStop right now, talking about not having targets. Look, this is going back literally, like, can you believe this is like to just over a couple of weeks ago when this whole thing started, and we can see how the thing moved out. Now, this is a very different scenario, because getting in and getting out was very challenging with that. But having targets is one of the most important things, right? Because
I think so, because at the end of the day, we got to put the money in our pocket.
Do you start protecting money, you know? Because I know some people might say, well, I thought this thing was going up to $1,000, right? And then you can see where it's ended up going, you know, nowhere near $1,000, man, breaking right down again. I hear that a lot. People say, well, I'm going to buy into the market, and as it goes up, I'm going to bring the protect, and they don't, and they give it all back. How important is that? Is that target? And also just, I guess, being satisfied with what you
Yeah.
actually get as well.
Well, at the end of the day, it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep, right? So if I'm not keeping anything, then I'm not making anything.
I
So
know
I
you have
have.
pretty strict risk management rules as well, right?
Yeah, yeah. So everything that I do is I will always do it at the most two contracts. So I'll have two contracts, and the first one will be a 1-to-1, just so that if it does go against me or whatever reason, I will at the very least lose peanuts or break even.
Yep.
And then the second target will always be at a 50% level of whatever it was that I was looking at.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a lot of success. I even put on my Twitter page, I had something like, I think like 76 to 89% winning days to losing days. And at one point,
That's
and
impressive. I wish I had that. I do. That's awesome. Yeah,
and,
carry on, please.
and I had the screenshot. I have it anyway, but it showed, there was one that I put on Twitter that literally shows this huge curve going up. And that's what happens when you just focus on just two markets.
Right.
So at one point I was trading everything. I mean, it was like, copper's moving, and I'm like, I've never traded copper before, but why not? So, and I found that if I just stick to one or two markets, that was a period where I had like one loss in like 10 days, I think, of actual
Wow.
trading. What I mean by that is that, meaning that I closed the day positive, because
Right.
I will have losing days. I
Sure.
lost yesterday, and then I still will recover. But if I close the day even with like $1 positive,
Mm-hmm.
then that would be considered like a
A
winning
winning
day.
day. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's what gives me those percentages. Of course, I was closing more than $1. uh, but yeah, because I'm doing a program, and I'm proving that I can make 9,000 in 10, 11 days with a
Yeah.
higher consistency rate.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the boat that I'm on, but it has to do with everything. I mean, it's not just, because the strategy, go on YouTube and find a strategy. That doesn't mean anything, and if you don't have the right system, if you don't have the right people that are I think that are willing to teach you and really like show you how it works, it's like, it's going to be, I don't know, some people might not struggle, or I've seen other companies, this is like way before I ever got involved in this, was like, I think 4 or 5 years ago, some company in Europe that I had subscribed to, their strategy worked too, but geez, I had to risk like $500. It was like an entire hour wick to wick candle, and I'm like, how in the world do you do this, like without risking so much? So, and it worked for them, it didn't work for me. And so I just went on this, trying to sign up to anything that I could, because I'm obsessed with learning the markets, I'm obsessed with trading. So like, even when I would shower, like the other day I was showering, and I was watching some guy on YouTube, and because he was talking about how he's still holding GameStop, thinking it's gonna get to, and I'm like, okay, whatever.
Well, let's just go over to that for a second, and let's look at those charts. I mean, this is what I love
Yeah.
about being in a live environment. I mean, there were people out there. I mean, clearly that is the difference in the mindset. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Anyone looking
He's
at the
still in
show,
it.
this is the daily chart of it right now, and this is it looking at it on a small time, just peeling off as we speak, still selling off right now as we go. I'm going to take this to like a 4-hour time frame that you can see, but I mean, there's people, I was reading stories yesterday about this, Giovanni, of people who literally borrowed money from the bank and put their life savings into this.
Whoa.
And now Wall Street Bets is not full of people who are bragging about how much money they've made. Rather, what they're doing now is not bragging about how much money they've made, but rather how much money they've lost. How much do you see what's went on in with GameStop there is just a pure gamble versus what you do? I mean, would you be interested in that when you saw that happening in GameStop? Were you like, oh, I got to jump on that? Or do you just go to the same well and get and get fed, or go to the same place and get fed? Like, what's your approach?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, I would have never maybe even looked at GameStop. But when all this was happening,
Right.
I looked at GameStop before we had class. And I did the analysis.
Right.
And yeah, and I looked at the location, and I myself, I was kind of proud because then later you mentioned it, so I was like,
Right.
yeah, so I was like, why are they shorting there? Because I guess there was a meeting where they discussed that they wanted to push it further, and I'm like, but why? I would probably want to, like, it just didn't make any sense to me. I would want to be a buyer, really. And so, and then when you mentioned that, and that just goes to show you, when I think you said that even the hedge funds managers don't really know what they're doing. That's when I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I am doing something right. So, like, and then I reconfirmed to myself, because my instructor's saying what I had said on my own, that was true. I just didn't know. I always thought the hedge fund managers, I always thought they were like, wow, they must know everything, or they must really know what they're doing, or whatever it was. And so, and when you confirmed that for me, I was like, well, why? I don't understand why they were doing what they wanted to
Why
do.
were they doing those shorts in the
Yeah, I
first
really
place?
didn't. Like, if anything, if you would have bought it, you could have, and then not knowing that was going to happen, you would have been like, next day, take a vacation. But
Crazy things happen, don't they? I mean, I always look at that. I mean, that was a hedge fund from what we saw in the news, Giovanni, as well. And as that was happening, that was a hedge fund that was specializing in that short selling as well. I mean, I just think, though, what I found as well is, it baffled me why the heck they did it too. But, today, like, we've seen a nice little sell-off. Let's go back over to the charts. I'm actually in right now myself a position on the Dow Jones. I'm going to bring this up so everybody can just see this at the moment. I took a little stab at this. Let's bring it up so you'll appreciate this right now. Just on the far right-hand side here, I'm actually in a position myself on the Dow Jones on a short position right now. What was the entry I got on that? I think it was up near somewhere around this size. It's on a different account that I'm doing this on at the moment. But, the thing to understand about it is I look at this, and this is the futures market that we're trading here, that I'm in, and I'll pull it up and just show it in just a second while we're talking. But people say to me, why do you go to the same thing? Like, I trade this Dow Jones many days of the week. Here it is right now, the YM, which is the futures contract. I go here because it's safe. That's the simple answer. I go here because it's safe, because I don't have to worry, about anything in that respect. And
there's
I
another
find
thing
that there's easier opportunity out there if you go where it's safe or it's liquid. I also know that in a position like this, I can get out when I need to get out as well. How many things on average do you typically now look at a day yourself, Giovanni?
It's the same. Really, I'm just focusing on the main four, the ES, Dow, Nasdaq, and the Russell, but mainly it's the Dow, the Russell. I like doing the Nasdaq during Globex, just because it moves pretty quickly and gets me to my targets quicker.
What one
And
were
then
you saying there? Sorry, the Dow or the Russell?
oh no, so I focus a lot on the Dow and the Russell,
Yep.
but when I trade during the Globex hours, I might do something small on the NQ, just because it gets me to my target like pretty
Yeah.
quick, and then I'll be done.
Yep.
So, and then I can, or lock in profits, or wait till it hits my target, and whatnot.
Nice.
But again, it's just sticking to those one or two markets. I mean, if crude is your thing, and you're great at crude, then great, stick to that. I know I met a woman that all she did was trade Qualcomm
Wow.
forever, and that's how she made her living. And it's like, whatever,
Yeah, as long as
there's
it
no right or
works.
wrong.
Who cares, right?
Yeah,
It's about what works for you, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's not about, it is. I always say it's about going to the thing that's good for you. And this is why I asked you before as well about how important it is to about find your strategy. Like, someone can give you a strategy, but you have to take ownership of it, right?
absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely. And put in the work, and stick to the rules. And that's what I love about it, because the rules are there. It's like, you don't buy unless it's in the area. It's not the zone. It is the location. So I think if you're wondering what is above the trend, it is the location
Mm-hmm.
for me, because I put it on Twitter. I caught the bottom of that S&P when it tanked and it did that big shakeout, and I caught that dip for 3,500, and I put it on Twitter, and that's proof that shows you that, well, first of all, you can catch the falling knife, and except we catch it with, like, armor and all the good stuff to protect you, and in a safe way. But when I did that analysis, it was going right into an area where we are taught to buy, and in an area when you're taught to sell, and everything else is like, just don't touch it, you know.
You have to kind of get that rhythm in it as well. All right, so we've heard about all the good stuff. We've heard about the good stuff. Now, some people are going to say to you, well, how long has this taken you? Now, again, you might have said this at the start, but how long has it taken you, firstly, and how much did you find yourself just going from one place to the next, one place to the next, one place to the next? How long did that journey? And then I want to talk about what you still wrestle with now, because, I mean, there are still challenges, right?
Absolutely. What do you mean by one thing to the rest? Like, when
this journey started? But how would you say, like, is it about 7 years you've been involved?
Yeah. About 7.5 years of like jumping around, questioning everything.
Yep.
Being inconsistent, a lot of downfalls, not depression, but it's just like that feeling where it just life sucks because you know what you're capable of doing. And well, if they can do it, why can't I? You know, like all those things went through my head, and I did that for about 7 years until now. And I think once I got in, and I remember it took me about 2.5 months for finally all the light bulbs that started going off and then finally clicking together, because you can combine Dan and we can combine you, and we can, and then we take what Ryan also teaches, and everything just meshes together so well. And so it took me about 2.5 months before I finally kind of got it. And then I think it took me about another 2.5 months afterward to 3 months before I started getting consistent. The reason why I fail, or my problems, is the psychology. It's the mental side. So it's not even the trading anymore, because I know it works. And I know if I just maybe walked away.
You talk about walking away, it helps, because look, I got this. I was just saying, I got the short position on. I've had to just log in on the remote here as well, but to see it. But yeah, you'll see. Look, I got like about $1,000 of profit on a trade right now going on, right, on a short trade. Okay, while we're chatting. One of the best distractions is doing a show and talking to you. This is up, this is down. You have your targets in and everything. And for anybody who knows on that, this is the market's falling down. This is a short position on here. I'd like to do other things, Giovanni. Like, I actually am like a little bit like you, when I've got things like that going on, I'm just like, if I'm distracted, it's easier. Because what's it like when you're watching it all the time? You get tempted to mess with it, don't you?
Yeah. And what you'll do is you'll start to question it. You'll second guess it.
Yeah.
And then you'll prove yourself wrong when you are already in a winning trade, and then you'll exit early, and then the thing will go in your favor. And then I feel like the biggest idiot ever. And I'm like, you just don't learn. And those are the struggles that I will overcome it. I know I will. And it's only a matter of when. And I think once I can get the emotional aspect, because before my problem was even entering, it was just clicking. Because, and then when it was real money, it was like, man, if it went like even like, $5-10 against me, I felt like I blew half of my bank account when it was real. And then I was like, I just did so many stupid things. I mean, like I did like so many dumb things. And, I know that when I work on the psychology part, the emotional part, and the cool thing is that from what I understand, you and Ryan and Dan are there's going to be some tutoring or mentoring for that whole thing, which I can't wait to be a part of. If I'm not mistaken, I think so. And I'm looking forward to working on that, because I know that the trading works. I know how to do it. I know that this is a system that actually works. I've proven it. Now, if I can just force myself to do the next step and then the next step, and not have to worry so much about the trade, I'm going to be all right, and those are my struggles. I think everybody has their own.
We do. We're all human. I always said trading was not really built for people. We're not set out to do that almost, it's because people make there's so much impetus put on money and all those things as well. And
I saw this documentary when I was showering yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And
you got a TV in the shower, do you? That's
nice.
Yeah,
so now you're
living the big time life.
No, I need the TV. I need the
The
TV.
guy's doing so well. He has flat screens in his shower, ladies and gentlemen. This is awesome. So tell me about this documentary.
Oh, it was really good, man. It was filmed in the 80s, and I wish I could remember. I'll check it out real quick if I can remember what it's called. But basically, it was these three forex traders,
Yeah.
and they compete against. Oh, it's called Billion Dollar Day. It was filmed in Billion Dollar Day. Watch that documentary, and I'm over here tripping on $300 risk, $500 something, and these guys were moving millions of pounds, and then the Asia markets doing their thing, and the Americans
There's
doing
one
his
here,
thing.
right?
Yeah, dude, it's really good, and they're pushing like heavy money, and you can see their real emotions. Like the guys.
Oh, and I know this is going to be a good one because it was done by the BBC.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
I'm liking that very, very much.
And it was really good. It was really good. It's like, and it's a quick little, like, I don't know, 30-minute video or something like that.
Very cool.
But and they go and then they ask one of the guys, they're like, how do you do it? Like, how do you just move that much? And he's like, well, I don't know. I just do it.
I just do it.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. I wish it was that easy. Like where you could, because in the video you'll see him hit the desk. He's like, damn it, and he's, because they're competing and they call other banks and stuff. But the point is like their psychology is it's down. They got it down. But
I would say to anybody listening right now as well. But this is awesome, And look, it looks like it's about 29 minutes, just a very short documentary by the BBC. I've never seen it, and I'm gonna
watch it.
I'm gonna make a point of actually doing it right now. Lovely little tip for all of you in the room as well, looking at this. Hey Graham, hey Steve Hall, Mitchell, Karen Grimes, Ryan Seiden, great to have you on the show as well. And any traders looking at this right now or investors wanting to sharpen up. I always love these kind of resources. There's a lot of things about the internet I can't stand, but there's also a lot of things I really like when you can get some really cool resources just like this as well. So you're mainly futures trader right now. So what else are you working on right now? So I know you've had the real major success with your futures trading.
Yeah.
Okay. What's next for you now? And let's talk about some goals for you, because what we haven't talked about is your full-time job. Well, it's a part-time full-time job as well, which you are an actor. And this was originally something for you to do to supplement yourself. So I guess you weren't working in restaurants and driving Uber, which I know you have done, right, as well. But like, that's what I'd love to know about. Like, for you, like, is your passion as strong for this as it is for the acting? Do you carry on doing both? What are your goals? So what, you're in futures now. What are you working on? And what are those goals down the line as well, Gio? Because I think it's important to have those, right?
Oh, absolutely. And actually, I just started, thankfully, I messaged Dan privately, and Dan, took a couple minutes out of his day to kind of help me out with the options thing, because that's my next step is the options world. Like, I love the strategy. I think it's simple what we're being taught. Finally, it's not all 14 strategies crammed to you in 3 hours.
Directional options. No one does it.
Yeah.
You buy a put, you buy a call. That's it.
Yeah. At least for me, for now, that's
nice
fine.
And easy.
Yeah. And something that I can just hold like a day, 2, 3, because I'm not used to holding.
Right.
Because as an actor, I like getting paid today. Because
you don't know when you're going to get paid again next, right?
Yeah. And that's kind of how we are, man. It's like, we're like these little ants trying to survive in this world of like no auditions and, competitiveness. Right. And so anytime we get a job, like, I was helping friends. They're like, hey man, some millionaire wants me to help set up his Halloween lights. Can you help me? Yeah, cool. Pay $150. Done.
Right.
Hey, they want the same house, wanted a big Christmas thing. Yeah, I'll do it. So that's kind of how I am. I'm kind of like, because it's just, dude, it's like, I've been here for 15 years, and it wasn't only until my daughter was born that I actually started really making my living consistently in acting. And now I've built such a passion for trading that they're like this. They are. The acting is still here,
of course,
maybe, but very little. But I just love learning. I love seeing all the stuff. I will play with stocks and throw the location analysis, and then I'm like falling off my chair because I'm like, it's insane. how exact it is. And so now I kind of want to, I'm hoping that through the options, it will get me in the habit of like, Ryan was showing us, some of his longer term wealth accounts. And I'm like, man, I want to have that.
Yeah.
I want to have that.
And you
I
got to
don't
want
want
it,
to just
haven't
do
you?
the
You
day to
do.
day
You
to
have
day.
to want it. You have to put that work in and want it. And I think that too many people, they love the idea of doing this, like you're doing it, but they don't like the reality. And the reality is, look, it doesn't have to take you years and years and years. I mean, because I know you've been doing this a long time, 7 years, but you probably could have shortened that learning process down to maybe 6 months to a year. But
Oh yeah.
which is one of the goals that we all have as educators to help with that. But yeah, I mean, I think you've got to want it, and you've got to be prepared to, put the time in and put the effort in and focus as well. And I
Look,
think it's important to have other distractions as well, right? Like a kid, like
absolutely.
other incomes.
And even going on the wanting it and also the distraction, it's like, so I train Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but obviously we haven't been able to because of, we've been on lockdown for a year. So but the thing is this, this is what I mean. The school that I train jiu-jitsu in, the instructor is a 5-time black belt world champion. He's in the Hall of Fame. And so he's got people coming in from Brazil, from all over the world, Europe, to train with him at our school. And the thing is, if you want to be the best, you have to train with the best. That's the way I see it. And to me, there is no other best than StockAbility. This is the company for me, and I think for everybody, because what I am learning is so unique. And I've been a part of so many different trading groups, forums, Discord groups, companies out in Europe, and no one is teaching this stuff. Nobody is. Not other schools that I can't probably won't mention, where they'll charge you $35,000 to $45,000. No one is teaching it, and with the discipline and the consistency, because then it rubs off, right? If I train with my black belt instructor, which I don't because I'm a blue belt, but the guys that do, they roll like he does. And they learn from him. So then when they roll with you, now they're smashing you, choking you the way he does it. And that's what I wanted to be like. That's, and I've told you before, man, I want to be like your little protege, like a little mini monster, like a little mini Sam.
Well, the rate you're going, I think you're surpassing me. So, and that puts a smile on my face as well. You find that what I love as well about this, what I found in this industry, there's a lot of aspects of it, the greed and the kind of like the shortcuts and all that. But then you also find, and I've been doing this a long time. I've been involved in the markets for over 18 years now. Taught 10, probably 60,000 plus people, and I've worked with some real talent, but I've found that when you get people who really get in their stride and do well at this, they want to share it. They want to help. There's not this, it's all greed, it's all for me. And I love it. And I always say this, it's not all about just riches and wealth. I know a lot of people, Giovanni, who just said, I just would love to replace my income one day. And their income might be 30 grand a year, and they live in a cheap part of the country where it's low, and they just want to make that, but they want to do it on their own terms. They want to work in maybe 5 hours a week instead of 50 hours a week, and they want to have freedom and time and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's the true essence of what it is. I think this is a lifestyle choice. I've said it many, many times before. It's a lifestyle choice, and too many people make it all about the money, and it's those people who, to me, consistently fail as well. You've got to take the money out of the equation and focus on what your goals are, right?
Yeah, I was listening to David Ramsey, and I'm a big fan of him. And David Ramsey was he's basically he's a financial guy who shows you and teaches you how to get out of debt. And basically everybody in my household who's read his book is debt free, including my wife and I. I'm sorry?
That's pretty awesome, man. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. And anyway, and what he said is that typically he said, I've met a lot of millionaires in my life, a lot of them, and he's like, they don't behave and act the way or dress the way that Instagram shows us. He's like, I can spot a millionaire like a mile away, and he's dressed in like jeans, big cowboy belt buckle, nicely pressed dress shirt. Very simple. These are people that can walk into a Walmart and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. And it's like, I don't know. Look at Bill Gates. He dresses like a nerd. Like I remember people like to me that I was like, they're just normal guys. Like then nothing fancy, nothing overdone, nothing like my $8,000 this and that. And and when I heard him say that, I was kind of like, okay, cool, because I get the Instagram messages, take my indicator and their Lamborghini, follow my Forex thing, and, I'll teach you how to turn 3,000 into 3 million. It's like, shut up, stop. And the other thing is, I don't want to put my money in with some app that
Right.
I don't know who does it, how it works, and because we're in a time now, I think, where everyone wants that, we all want that instant
Of
gratification,
course
right?
we
It's
do.
like,
That's the
here,
biggest
just take
reason
my
why I think
money.
a lot of people fail, though, isn't it?
Absolutely. Look, dude, every Friday when the market closes, I'm like, it's like, I know it's the weekend, but I can't wait to trade again. And so what I'll do is, and it's kind of like, and what I'll do with Friday nights, man, I will do this when my wife is asleep and my daughter's sleeping. I grab my laptop and I just start getting the market ready for Monday. It's just, I don't know, man. I can't put it down yet. I'll get there someday when I find it more boring. But right now I'm on such a high, and it's been because this huge light bulb just finally turned off on after 7 years,
Well,
where I'm finally like, wow, I can see where this is gonna take me and my family. I can see it. I need more the discipline of the emotional stuff, the things that I got to work on.
we all do
You
have
know,
to work, and you always keep working on it. I can tell you that right
yeah,
now,
yeah,
mate.
yeah. I have to, man. I mean, and I will get there, and you will get that call.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, listen, that make it music to my ears, the whole thing as well, and it puts a big smile on my face to hear you talking. We'll be continuing this journey together. You're certainly not on your
Oh,
own with
dude,
that
yeah,
as well.
100%.
Let's talk a little bit about today's markets. We do a feature on here called Your Call, My Put as well.
Yeah.
And I'd love to do that for the next 5 minutes or so. I'd love to hear it. The Reddit guys, I've got to get your opinion on this. The Reddit guys have been at it again today, by the way. Today it's Tilray. They'll put in highs of $67 a share. I said it at the start of the show, $67 a share. Wow, what a surprise. Right now we're trading at, where is it? $38.71 a share. I always say it, what goes up must come down. Big push in the market today on here. How many people do we think bought right up here today and are sitting on that hoping the thing's going to go to the moon? It's like people never learn. And it's irresponsible. These things go out there. Somebody up here made a ton of money, and then everybody else jumped in somewhere around here, and right now they've been wiped out and so on as well. Hey, I'm going to jump to the guess. You want me to be bearish on something? This thing's got further to go on the downside. I tell you that right now. A couple of weeks ago, I was calling it on GameStop, saying this thing was going to drop. I was telling you AMC was going to drop because markets that do things like that are unsustainable. But that's it. And I find it irresponsible sometimes, when people are tweeting about this stuff and saying, jumping out. I get scared, Giovanni, when I see how many people lost a ton of money on that right now. I mean, it's given up, pretty much half of its gains today. Well, all of its gains. I mean, you actually think right now, this thing, guys, ladies and gentlemen, this thing opened up today, right up here, opened at $66, put in a high of 67, and then people are buying it, and now their investment's worth $30 less right now. And what scares me is people put their life savings into stuff like that, Giovanni. How does looking at charts like that make you feel, knowing what people are doing right now in these crazy times of going on these forums, thinking they're taking on the institutions? What do you think about that?
Well, what I think is I would have thrown my location analysis on there before I would have done anything. Is what I would have done.
Might have been a good idea on that one.
Yeah, probably would have shorted it or bought it when it was ready to before that explosion. But the crazy thing, Sam, is that when I see this, it reminded me of and listening to you speak, it reminded me of your mentor, Bob Dunn, told me and the class once that he knew guys on the floor. One guy one day ended up delivering him a pizza.
Yeah.
And he tipped him $100 because he felt so bad.
Wow.
He recognized him and he was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this was a guy who was on the floor and lost it all. I guess. I mean, I don't know how that happened, but it's the same thing. It's like everybody wants to jump the bandwagon. I even my wife's cousins called me talking about Robinhood, and I'm like, get out of there right now. I'm like, look, do you want to learn how to trade? Save some money, talk to me.
Right.
And come on, man. Like, don't go that route. Don't jump the bandwagon. Because the move is done, dude. First of all, you missed it.
If anyone's, and I couldn't agree, and if anyone's listening right now and they're getting very seduced by this, let me tell you, I had Merlin Rothfeld on my show last week. Let me tell everybody on here right now, sincerely, guys, what is going on in the world right now. This is not new. This has been going on for years. and I appeal to people's common sense. There may be forums online, there may be gangs of retail traders saying, let's jump this stock, let's push it up. Do you not think that the big boys out there have all got their own spies in those forums, anonymously looking exactly at what they're doing, and with a whole lot of money taking the opposite? Because I can tell you, when that market got pushed up at 67 earlier on today, I can tell you exactly what happened on there. Somebody with a whole lot more money dumped that thing all the way down, okay, and push that right down, and a lot of people have got hurt out of that. It makes me sad, but it is what it is. This is why you don't hear me talk a lot about these outliers. And I'm sure, I feel the cannabis arena's definitely got legs on it. For sure it's got legs on it, but let's wait until we see, because let's face it, everyone's trying to be the first, Giovanni. Everyone's always trying to be the first. They want to be the first on that. They want to say, I got in on the cannabis stocks before it was legalized. Well, when it does get legalized, if it's a sustainable industry, that thing's going to go into a long-term uptrend you're going to see for decades to come, and you'll invest in it then, It's like everyone trying to call the top of the market. I'm out of that short position right now, by the way. I got into the short position. I'm out of the short position because I'm not long-term bearish on the market. I got out of the position, and why did I get out of the position? Because I had a profit target, and I'm out and I'm done and I'll move on to another day. It's a very different kind of mindset that you really have to have, and I know you know it as well. And again, if there's any traders or anybody taking an interest in the market looking at the show right now or checking the recording of that, that's the mindset that we come from here on TakeStock Live. We do a feature called Your Call, My Put. If you're bullish, you take the call. If you're bearish, you take the put. What are you, my friend? Bullish or bearish? What have you got for me today?
So I am sitting on my hands on Google. And Exxon.
All right. Bullish Google. Or bearish, my friend?
Bullish on Google after I did my little study.
Okay. Nice. And what are you thinking right now? You're bullish on the thing right now? Because it seems like we're going for a little bit of a consolidation period. I mean, the weekly chart has been looking unbelievable. I got to say, this daily chart is definitely looking a little bit more choppy right now. In fact, that's not the daily chart. That's the 15-minute chart. So let me go over to the 15 and the daily. Definitely looking a little bit more choppy on here that I would see. What are you waiting for, Giovanni? You like it where it is now? You want to wait for it to come down a little bit?
Yeah, I'm going to wait for it to come about to that rally pause and then that huge breakaway. I'm trying to wait for it to come into that area, which is also one of our charge trades.
Lovely.
So that's a really good place. And that would be the more aggressive approach for me. Yep. And I'm still I would be a little bit aggressive on this one. Just
now this, I guess, with the price of this stock, is a lot of people thinking, man, Giovanni, you got serious dollars, man. If you're looking to buy that thing, you're not going to be using the stock. You're going to be using the options, correct?
Yeah. Of course.
We talked about this many times. A great stock replacement strategy is to use options, okay? We're going to be doing a special on options in a couple of weeks here on the show as well, but gives you a much better bang for your buck as well, and a whole lot safer in many ways, right, as well. So I love that. Mm-hmm. So I like that. I see that, and I think there's a lot of wide open space on that. I can't bet against Google right now. Now, not while the tech sector's doing what it is. You had another one. I mean, not one, but two you said you wanted to give me. What's the other one, my friend?
Yeah, I really like ExxonMobil over at to go long at 46.40. 4,000.
Right. Okay. So you're looking for a little bit lower on this thing, huh? Yeah. You want to get a little bit more of a pullback on this one, I'm seeing.
I would want to. I kind of want
this has actually got a real nice uptrend that I'm seeing on the charts here. Let's just zoom in so we've got it to around here at the moment so we can see it from all angles. Very nice steady upward trend. This, to me, looks like it's screaming, Giovanni, that needs a little bit more of a pullback on here. But again, we call this a support zone right here. A little bit more consolidation on the market there as well. Looking somewhere around this? Is this what you're thinking around there, around that $46 mark?
Yep.
Absolutely. What do you expect on here on the target wise? To me, this is looking like this has a ton of room to go as well.
Yeah, so if I were to do this, I would enter on the daily at around 46.
Yep.
And I would just take it right back up to 49.37 area.
Yep.
And
yep.
Right under 50.
Okay.
Maybe even have 50 as a target if you want.
Nice. I gotta say though, I'm spying this area too here as well, and I love what I'm seeing around here around the $60 mark. Let me clean that chart up just a little bit for you. But just around here on that weekly chart. Ton of sellers opportunity that came down, but a lot of unfilled. Like these markets like a vacuum. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised to see 60 as a long-term target on that as well. Especially boosted by the fact that oil has been on a mother of all uptrends. And if you have been looking at this show, we don't give official trading recommendations. This is for educational and entertainment purposes only. But we do merely give our opinion. We are not registered brokers nor advisors. However, we have been very bullish on the crude oil market over these last few months as well. And if you've been following that, let's go take a look at that. You will see that that thing has taken a little bit of a pause last time I checked earlier on today, but here we go again. The long-term target on the crude oil market, looking at my charts just over here, has been around $60, and we are on the nut of $60. Guys, I'm still going to call it. I never mind putting it out there. $65 or within spitting distance of $65 is definitely my target on oil right now. We are breaking through levels. The monthly's looking strong. Yeah, it needs a little bit of a pullback. Man, I'd love to get a pullback to this area just around here. And this is long term I'm looking at. But 65 is my number on that. And that, Giovanni, would help that Exxon Mobil trade that you were looking at too as well, with those two markets being quite in sync as well. Do you do anything on the crude market yourself, mate?
I right now, because in futures, the program that I'm doing, there's just too many restrictions with, you know, having to pay attention to, you know, times of news and things with crude. So I'm just sticking to my things, man. Just sticking to what I know best, and sticking to those that they don't move so crazy, you know, the Dow and the Russell. But man, when they get moving, they get moving.
Absolutely, they do. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, so I guess that leaves me to be kind of bearish on something as well. I think, you know, I've got to be looking at here on what I would be bearish on the markets. You had a suggestion for me as well. We were looking at Tesla, wasn't it? And I got to say, you said to me about, Sam, go check out Tesla. And I was like, all right, I'll take a look. And I saw it and I was like, you know what? It's in the news too much. Musk's everywhere on this. Man, this market needs a pullback. I think a lot of people are going to turn around to me and go, blasphemy. How can you say you're bearish on Tesla? But right now, guys, the market has been bearish on Tesla. And Tesla is one thing I know about Tesla. Man, it has those ripping sell-offs and then bounces back with some real gusto on here as well. It's looking top heavy for me. A few telltale signs, making a few lower lows and lower highs right now. Do need to see this area taken out. But I'm seeing a lot of space. I got to say to you, Giovanni, I'm going to go way up to the weekly chart here. And I'm going to say 600 to 650 is a buy area for me. I'd like to see that as a little bit of a pullback. So I'd like to say I'm bearish. A couple of $100 on the downside. And then happily to get going into this again. But it's going to be really interesting to see about how, you know, Musk's recent statement about buying $1.5 billion of Bitcoin as well is going to impact that market. I think any person holding Bitcoin right now is rubbing their hands together. But I think the story is only just being told on Bitcoin as well. But what do you think about that? You feel this is looking a little bit top heavy as well yourself? Where would you be an interested buyer on this?
Buyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that weekly level.
Yeah.
Let me look at it.
You know what I like even more is this area here. Let's just go back one on here. But I actually prefer it even better down around 450. That to me is that's the buy zone there, but I just don't know this market's so strong.
Yeah,
will it get there? That's
even just looking at this right now, I'm just from doing it so much. I bet that first box, that first weekly area, it would probably flip on a charge area. It looks like. I mean, it does look
like it's setting up on a nice charge trade. That one of the strategies that we like to look at as well. So that's definitely going to be the first one. On anything here, this is just speculation, but I do like that where it is as well. And if that breaks down, I'm always happy to get it a little bit cheaper. That is market. 100%. I think it's still a company with a big future. I have zero concerns about that one in the long term as well. So, my friend, are you going to be back on the trading tomorrow? Obviously, you took it a little bit easy. Fridays, are you one of those people who trades on a Friday, or do you typically tend to avoid it?
I'm trading, man.
Yeah, every day, man. It's a way of life for you now as well. How long is your one thing I guess didn't ask you in wrapping up here? How long is your average day?
So usually I'm up at 5:30, and I'm done at around like 8:40.
Do you have a kind of a cutoff point where you're like, I'm done now, enough's enough, and you get a bit tired?
I'm starting to because then I want to. Again, that's my problem. Is like I'm gonna want to keep trading. You know, sometimes I make enough, and then I'm like, oh, here's another entry. You know, order filled, stopped out. You know,
and you think I should have just quit while I was ahead, right?
Yeah, there you go. So I've said, you know, and another thing that I really like is coming in at around 11:30 a.m. until that market close.
Yep.
So I was thinking, I just thought this yesterday, where if I stayed up late to do my Forex, you know, anything, you know, GBP related at around midnight here in LA. And then I could always jump on to futures, watch the recordings, and then come in at around 11 and hold the move. Because I've noticed too, sometimes at around, you know, that last move, and then it could hold into the next day, and it could continue that same trend.
Awesome.
Something else I was thinking was maybe even just coming in at around 11:15, 11:30, because then I can do the Forex.
Nice.
And then I can do the futures while I continue to work on my options.
Very good. Very good. Well, I'm sure you'll figure out. All I'm going to say to you is just carry on doing what you've been doing up until this point. That's it. That's the consistency. Some great tips for everybody there as well. Giovanni, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'd love to get you back on the show, get a little bit of update on the options as well. I think some really inspiring stuff for the guys who are. Stick around a little bit. I'd love to talk to you after the show as well. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Giovanni Bejarano on here on TakeStock Live. Great guy. Has become, an absolute, just a force for kind of just fantastic energy and everything that we do in the company as well. So really, really great to have him here as well. I hope you took something from that. Not everybody's journey is the same in the market. And, one of the things I've found is it's so much about just committing firstly, having that idea, having that belief, and doing it the right way. There are no shortcuts. Any of my guests on the show will always tell you that. And as the host of the show, I will tell you that too. No shortcuts. But guys, it is something that's achievable. You have to find your style. And there's plenty of great places where we're very happy to do that. If you're interested in finding out a little bit more about this and what we do, my recommendation is real simple. Go over to StockAbility.com. right here as well. Go to the website. We've got some great new updates and awesome things coming on in a couple of months as well. Scroll on down. Check out the instructor team on here as well. And this is great. We've got 3 webinars. This one has just ended on here, Trading versus Investing. We had that one just yesterday. But our next webinar, let's just focusing, is called the Trading Business Blueprint. If you were liking what you were hearing about the options and all the different things that Giovanni does, he's probably going to be on that webinar with me, and I'm going to be talking about the Trading Business Blueprint, how to build a business blueprint for your trading, and starting to really break down and do the things that are going to help you, cutting all of the BS out, literally crossing the T's, dotting the I's, and doing this the right way. That's the Trading Business Blueprint. That's going to be on Thursday, February 25th, 7 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to be later. And then we're going to be doing another one about understanding how the markets really work. What are the true driving factors? What do you pay attention from a technical and a fundamental point of view, and how to use that information as well. Would love you to join us for one of those complimentary webinars as well and see what we're up to on that. That is Trading Business Blueprint, February 25th at 7 p.m. And then the following week, a few weeks later, March 10th as well. And plenty of new announcements coming if you want to. Also, anytime here, guys, the best thing you can do is register and sign up for our newsletter. Just type your email in here. You'll get a newsletter, weekly newsletter with all the good things that are going on at StockAbility, which is the power behind TakeStock Live as well. Guys, this has been a fun show. It's the top of the hour. Here we go. We like to be keen and succinct in all this as well. I want to say a big thanks again to Giovanni Bejarano for joining us on the show. And if you are looking at this live, thanks for your participation. It's been great to have you on here as well. This show, Peggy, starts at noon Eastern time. Peggy Jerome, shout out to you on there for just coming in. This does start at noon Eastern, 5 p.m. London time, 9 a.m. Pacific. And it's here every Thursday, streaming live on Facebook Live. You're also going to be able to see the recording of this show. We had a little technical difficulty right at the start with some muting, but we got it fixed really quickly. So if you do look at the recording of this a little bit later on and go back over it, just bear with it for the first few minutes. That will sort itself out. This show will see in its edited form as well, rebroadcast and put on our StockAbility YouTube channel as well. So plenty of ways to stay in touch with us. Follow us on social media. Go to StockAbility.com for everything else that you need on there. Guys, this has been a really fun show. My name is Sam Evans. This is Thursday, February 11th. I will see you next Thursday at 12 noon. Between then, enjoy your Friday, enjoy your weekend, trade safe, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.